Welcome to OT Cyber from the plant floor up, a podcast focused on discussing the latest innovations and developments in the OT cybersecurity space. The podcast is powered by Dynex and hosted by our CTO, Jeff Smith. Subscribe via iTunes, Spotify, or the Dynex YouTube channel, or wherever you watch/listen to podcasts and enjoy the. Welcome to another episode of OT Cyber from the plant floor up. We have a very special guest today. I mean, all our guests are special, but we have another special guest. I will actually kick it to Jeff Smith to introduce our special guest. Jeff?
Hey, good afternoon. Thanks, Jen. Yeah, today we've got Shawn Gutierrez, who is the president of AtomTech. AtomTech is one of Dynex Platinum partners, and they do a lot of work in our visualization, data collection, SCADA, and are also beginning to do a lot of work in our cybersecurity products as well.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Well, it would be great to kind of just get and we'll start with Shawn here, just a little bit of background on AtomTech. I know we just put out a fun, exciting release with the company, but it would be great to get the background just from you personally, Shawn.
Right. So AtomTech, we provide controls and data collection, mainly for industrial processing, but we also support distribution centers and others. We currently have over 50 engineers with a pretty diverse background, which helps us as a team attack any issue that the clients come with. So we generally target areas related to controls. That's our main background. We also do SCADA, and as Jeff pointed out, cyber deployments. We like to pride ourselves that we're an integrator. So we integrate products for customer solutions.
Awesome. And Jeff, do you want to kind of kick off around, what the overview of how Dynex works with AtomTech? And then Shawn, of course, feel free to chime in as well.
Sure. Uh, so typically what happens is, Dynex, we've got a wide variety of products, either from a software perspective, such as our Dynemetrics solution, which is plant performance, plant metrics, process data recording. We've got other products such as ICS 360 Fusion, ICS Defender, and working with Shawn and his various teams. Those teams generally go out and do projects, integration projects for customers, and in doing so, they'll kind of pick a la carte or perhaps more than one of a product that fits a particular customer's needs. And they do most of the work, but they know that Dynex is always here from the perspective of, if there's questions or they want a little bit deeper dive into something like architecting a cybersecurity solution for a customer. Obviously, given that there are products, we know them inside and out, and we've got a lot of experience. So, our goal is to work with partners like AtomTech, which have the expertise that they have, and be more of a support. Obviously we offer the product, but then be more of a support role and help them fill in any gaps or help them on larger projects where they might need to lean on us a little bit.
Yeah, to expand on Jeff's statement is we really do feel like we're a collaborative partner with both the products, the product solution provider of like Dynex and our clients and accomplishing their goals. So a lot of times what happens is we get a client that has either purchased a system and it's become outdated, or they want to increase their visibility. They want to add, the Industry 4.0 products and what the connectivity comes with. And a lot of times we're integrating these types of solutions into a variety of machines at different vintages with different control platforms. So that's when we get with Jeff and his team and say, okay, this is our different protocols and our different legacy items that we're trying to connect now to this new platform, and we work pretty well together, I believe.
That's awesome. Thank you both for sharing that. And I think, kind of getting into the crux with this is one of my favorite parts of each episode is, of course, like kind of talking about the overview of both of AtomTech and Dynex solutions and products, but really like what we're solving and why the partnership, right? And like looking at just the state of the industrial and cybersecurity industry, like how does this partnership
help resolve some of the current events and vulnerabilities that we see, nationwide and globally.
Well, I guess I can answer part of that is as we've engaged different clients, we've had clients that have been acquired by international conglomerates, and they had, let's just say, homegrown solutions in which they now have to connect. And in connecting, they open themselves up to the vulnerabilities that, with cyber attacks and uh, the proliferation of malware. There's a lot of concerns. As much as everyone wants the features, or they have an operational requirement to now collect data, either from a part traceability for contract compliance to OEE guarantees to end users that they're able to keep their equipment up and running to an operational requirement set by the end client. So as all this is going on, you're getting a lot of things that are done piecemeal, right? So and they're complex systems. Honestly, some of our systems are pretty simple to very complex, multi-motion. We have to collect the data and be able to attach it to the serial number of that product. And then we have to store that data in a database, which also has to be stored offsite, uh, once again, to protect themselves from ransomware and whatnot. So it's been an interesting evolution. As much as we love the Industry 4.0 visibility and mentality that brings all this connected components to life, it opens up risks. So we've been worried. Suxtent opened the eyes to the world that PLCs exist and that they can basically disrupt physical world. Up until then, it really was cyber attacks and of that nature, hacks in general, were limited to data. And then they found out that they can actually um, impose great harm to the physical world, and it opened up a big door for us. Uh, I'm sure Jeff can elaborate on.
Yeah, to kind of echoing what Shawn said, this whole industry 4.0, it's kind of funny. Over the years, different things come and go, and they get different names and new names, and I kind of chuckle because IIoT is the same business to business, machine to machine that we were doing back in the 90s and early 2000s. And somewhere about 3 or 4 years ago, someone said, we should call that the industrial Internet of Things. And all of a sudden, it was all the rage. So what that's really led to is more and more devices on the plant floor being connected. And unfortunately, let's face it, most of these guys that are building sensors, and they're living within their wheelhouse of what they do. So from their perspective, if they can plug into a switch or connect to the wireless and go, then they can pull data from whatever type of sensor it is, vibration sensors, motors, temperature, and they just want to shoot that data up. And if they happen to be a cloud company, it's let's throw all that data to the cloud from 500 sensors on the plant floor. Well, then you're effectively poking 500 holes in your security to get out. And it really behooves the customer at that point to understand what they're doing and try to put some controls around that. And AtomTech, from their perspective as an integrator, has done a great job, and they understand the plant floor and they understand the needs of the plant floor. Well, Dynex, from the plant floor up, is the name of this podcast. We can trace our roots back to manufacturing in the plant floor. That's where we started. We didn't start in the IT space and come down. We started on the plant floor with the needs of the plant floor and worked our way up. So I think the great energy that the partnership provides is just that plant floor expertise and understanding of, what are the threats today? What have the threats been in the past? How is that becoming more and more of a problem? And how do we address that on the plant floor while doing what you need to do in the industrial place or on a plant floor, which is to typically build a product, right? In the late 90s, in late 80s, it was let's build a car, get it out the door. In the late 90s, it was let's build a car, and quality and get it out the door. And of course, safety's always been a goal. And now it's, how do we build it safely with quality, get it out the door, and secure our IP and secure our process. So it's just a never-ending, it's a never-ending chase.
Yeah,
if you will.
to expand on Jeff's comment, he's exactly right on. Our approach over the years has been to develop new standards, new ways of implementing control solutions into the manufacturing environment. And we have to ask a lot of questions to a lot of different stakeholders. So you got production, you got material management, you got operational, maintenance. Everyone has a say and or has a system they want to tie into. So our experience and the evolution over the last 30 years of that space is that we ask a lot of detailed questions because we know the details matter. I've been asked repeatedly to give a value prop of what makes AtomTech special. Everyone wants to be special. So it really is that we care. We ask the questions, we make sure we do the follow-up questions because in our experience, there's no simple answer for all the stakeholders. So we'll ask some follow-up questions to make sure people are hearing what we're asking, and that way that what we're proposing will be able to accomplish more than one or two goals. That it is open enough to accomplish multiple tasks, so that way we're not making the same investment repeatedly to gather the similar data or connect to the same operational devices. It's an interesting environment to say the least.
That that is that is actually interesting. I think the focus on quality is really important. Safety, security, and quality. I'm curious, just some closing thoughts of like, what do you think the future holds? I mean, particularly within the critical infrastructure and manufacturing industry, it's one of those industries that have been really the foundation of our country for so long, but we have so much digital transformation and vulnerability. So I'm curious, like, what do you think the future holds?
Yeah, that's kind of it's a good question, although I would say it's somewhat of a broad question. Obviously, a couple of years ago, we were talking a lot about what might happen from a security perspective and a malware perspective and ransomware perspective. We don't really have to talk about what might happen anymore because it's happening on a daily basis. You can search the internet or watch the news, and it's almost inevitable that at least some point during some week it's going to be on the news somewhere that something new is attacked or some new attack was detected. Or if you look at the ICS CERT website, which is basically a website that looks at vulnerabilities and tracks vulnerabilities with controls products and plant floor and industrial products. It's kind of a never-ending list. So I think it's just going to continue to grow, and people are going to have to get smarter and smarter and understand that it's a core piece of their business. It's got to be a core and fundamental effort to protect their business interest, their business with cybersecurity on the plant floor. It can't be a bolt-on. It can't be an add-on. And while it may not have happened to them yet that they're aware of, it certainly will.
Yeah, to Jeff's point on that too is with coronavirus, the pandemic, and all that, supply chain and the vulnerabilities of supply chain has become a hot topic. Like to just point on the news, and you hear about it every day in almost every way, whether it's the onboarding or reshoring of supply chain, the lack of dispersed or diversified suppliers. We've strategically sourced ourselves into having one factory that provides a critical component for a wide variety of products, and in doing so, we've taught the bad actors out there that they can inflict some real damage um, by targeting manufacturing and supply chain at critical points. So to Jeff's point, it has to become more of a fundamental building block of when we design systems and not an afterthought.
Building it in, not bolting it, right? Built-in security. That's
Exactly.
my pun or line for the podcast episode that I'll leave all the audience members with. Awesome. Well, thank you both for that. Is there any like closing thoughts or any last bits of info you wanted to both share before we wrapped up today?
Nothing in particular, other than I would say thanks for joining us today, Shawn. I appreciate it, and we're certainly looking forward to working with your team and the level and the quality of the team you put out. So it's going to be, I think it'll be a great partnership moving forward.
Couldn't agree more. Thanks for having me on the podcast. This was my first podcast, so I appreciate everyone being a little patient if I pause too much here and there. But the overall concept is that by partnering with companies like Dynex, we can bring the best solutions we can possibly provide. To Jeff's comment earlier about monitoring the current threats, and it's changing by the second, every moment. So we appreciate Dynex's trust in us, and we're looking forward to the future.
Yes. Well, you did great. Thanks so much for joining us, Shawn. And we will catch you next time on OT Cyber from the plant floor up.